Lionel Messi should have died a long time ago. Wow. Even though he's the GOAT now,
Messi.
It could have been different, because recently, Messi came out to reveal some shocking truths about his childhood, and wait till you find out what his biggest dream was. And yeah, it isn't football. Growing up was confusing for Leo because even though he had people to guide him on the right path, it was still a challenge. Messi was born on the 24th of June, 1987. And his dad Jorge worked at a steel factory while his mom Celia worked in a magnet manufacturing company. These weren't high-paying jobs, man. And coupled with the fact that Messi had 3 other siblings, names Rodrigo, Matias, and Maria, they were just managing to get by, until the depression set in, and almost knocked the Messi family off their feet. In the 1980s, Argentina was on the brink of collapsing, the country owed a lot of debt, and because of that, they didn't have enough to take care of its citizens, meaning, middle-class families like the Messi became poor. It became a struggle just to survive on a daily basis. But they all had one thing that kept them going even through the dark times. Because their love for this game gave them hope: football. Everyone in the Messi family was a fan, and even Leo's older brothers Matas and Rodrigo played for a couple of local teams across the street. Now at that time, because of the economic situation, some of Messi's close relatives lived nearby. He even lived with his grandma. That's why Messi admitted the first truth about his birth story, because all these years, he's been fooling everyone that he's completely Argentine, when in fact, according to his family tree, he's technically from another country. So, here's the deal: Messi has 4 grannies: Antonio, Selena Alvaria, Rosa Maria, and Eusebio, and fun fact, none of them are from Argentina. His grandparents from his father's side, Eusebio and Rosa Maria, were both from Italy and Spain. But then they moved to Argentina a couple of years later, and settled there ever since. So yeah, they were immigrants. Leo's grandparents on his mother's side are from Italy. So the truth is, he's more European than he's Argentine. Amazing. But you see guys, growing up, Leo was close to his siblings. But there was one person in particular he shared a special bond with, and it was this relative that introduced him to football, and became his first agent, his grandma, Celia Oliveira. As Leo started to grow, she got balls for him to play around the house. Damn, and my grandma only gave me candy and $20 when I was a kid. Leo soon became interested in the sport, and by the time he was 4 years old, Grandma Cecilia figured it was time he started playing with kids his age. But there was one big problem about this, and she was going to find out the hard way. Grandma Cecilia was determined to see Leo get to the top, and because of that, she got him signed to his first ever team, Grand Leo FC, and even convinced his parents to buy boots for him, so he wouldn't feel left out with the other kids. Leo's older brothers were also signed into the team as well. And one day, they had a big game that everyone was hyped about, but what they didn't know was that this match was going to change Leo's life. Granny was playing another local team in the park, and everyone from the Messi family came to watch them play. Now little Leo was still very small, so the coach kept him on the bench and started his brothers instead. But with the game moving on and Granny losing, Grandma Celia knew the coach had a star weapon on the bench, and if they were going to win the game, he had to bring him on. So she got in his face, and pressed so hard for Leo to get in that the coach, Salvador Aparicio, didn't have a choice, and that's when he turned around and said the words that changed everything. Leo, get dressed, you're on. With his first touch of the ball, he completed a dribble to make the crowd notice, and continued dribbling anyone that stood in his way. Even his brothers were impressed, and from that day on, little Leo became one of the first names on Coach Aparicio's team sheet. In fact, Aparicio became so impressed with Leo's skills, he promoted his dad Jorge, that was going to take him to a bigger club, and a couple of months later, Leo was off to a bigger academy, News Old Boys, and it was here his career began to take shape. Because all along, Leo and his family had been big fans of the New Will's Old Boys, and now that Leo had joined the club's academy, it was like a dream come true for them, especially his grandma. But just when Leo thought his career was on the up, he got the news that shattered his heart. Leo was still trying to settle into the new academy, when he came back home from training one day, and noticed the house was unusually quiet. Now he's very close to his grandma Cecilia, and she's the one of the first people he always meets when he gets back. So he called her name, and when he didn't get a response, he went out looking for her. And that's when he got the terrible news. Leo, Grandma Cecilia is dead. It was like someone took a grenade, placed it side by side with his heart, and blew it up. Leo was devastated, and ever since that day, he began thinking of ways to honor her. and after that, he decided to dedicate every goal he scored to her, by always pointing to the sky, in her memory. But you see guys, Grandma Celia's death didn't just affect Leo emotionally, it was physical too, because a couple of months later, even though they doubted it at first, the Messi family had a huge problem. Leo had stopped growing. Compared to other kids his age, Leo was short, really short. His family first believed he'd catch up with them in height later, but the months passed and he still remained the same. So they took Leo to the doctors, and the report was scary as hell. Leo was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency, and if he didn't treat it soon it was going to kill him. Lucky for Leo there was a cure. All he needed to do was take a couple of injections and he was okay. But the cost of those injections was way more than his family could afford. At this time, Leo had started gathering interests from a couple of teams in the league who wanted him to come play for them at youth level. So his dad wrote letters to these teams, asking them for support to help treat Leo, but just like that, they all bailed on him, and left him hanging, until FC Barcelona showed up, and because of how convinced they were of Messi's talent, they decided to pay for the cost of his medical bills on one condition: that Messi was going to join their academy. Leo and his dad said yes, and as they were packing their bags a few weeks later, Leo soon realized he was going to be leaving everything he knew behind, including his biggest secret. As soon as Leo got to the new academy, his talent made him make friends pretty easily, and one of them was Lucas Scalia. Leo and Lucas became pretty close, and one day they were both running late for training when Leo showed up at Lucas's house to get him to hurry up, but the person he met at the door wasn't Lucas. Nah, this person was about to change his life. Lucas was Antonella Roccuzzo's cousin, and straight on, even though he didn't realize it at the time, Leo had a huge crush on her. So he started visiting Lucas a lot regularly, and it wasn't just like the football this time. He took any excuse he could just to talk to Antonella. They even invited Leo to the house on summer holidays, and as they grew closer, Leo knew he'd found the perfect girl. But with his new move to Spain just around the corner, all of that was about to fade away. So, Leo met Antonella one evening and promised her, "I'm going to come back for you and marry you." She said yes, even though she wasn't sure how, and Leo wasn't sure too. And as the weeks passed with Leo now in Spain, they struggled to maintain communication until they eventually stopped talking, especially after Leo found out that Antonella had a boyfriend in college back in Argentina. Leo decided to focus on his football, and after winning the 2005 Under-20 World Cup with Argentina and making his debut for Barcelona senior team a few weeks later, he was the name on everyone's lips, around the world too, especially after scoring goals like this. But the thing is, the universe has a way of making promises work, man. I mean, this one time, I promised to take out the trash and forgot, and for a week, I lost all my FIFA Ultimate Team matches. 11 in a row, until I took out the trash. Okay, maybe I'm just a horrible gamer, I don't know. But back to Leo, and while he was enjoying being a new kid at the club, especially after linking up with Ronaldo, he soon got the news that made him leave everything behind to go after his lost treasure. Antonella got involved in a car accident, and her best friend died on the spot, leaving her traumatized. Leo immediately flew down to Argentina just to console her, and after meeting up for a couple of days, the feelings were back again. So this time, Messi asked Antonella to come back with him to Spain, and she said yes, because deep down, she knew Messi was about to fulfill his biggest dream, and this wasn't one about football or winning trophies. It was something else, something Leo had always wanted as a kid. After watching his parents do it, he always wanted to start a family with a woman he loved. That was Leo's biggest dream, and that's why he came back for Antonella, because he loved her and wanted to have kids with her. Fast forward to the present day, and with 3 kids, 7 Ballon d'Or, and 1 World Cup, Messi's dream won everything. Antonella changed Leo's life and made him see everything differently, but the truth is, if not for her, things could have ended up badly.